Welcome to today's episode of The Pursuit of Excellence, the show where we go beyond the surface to discover what separates the good from the great. And today I have a very special guest, Jason Bowen, who is a blue-collar entrepreneur who has built, scaled, and exited multiple companies, culminating in a high 8-figure exit in 2024. And within 30 days, he redeployed that capital into new acquisitions, real estate, and meaningful impact, proving that wealth is only as powerful as what you do with it next. So welcome to the show. I know that's a very short soundbite, and so much went into all of that. I am so honored to have you on the show today.
Yeah, likewise, Tinja, I appreciate you guys bringing us on, and excited just to chat through experience and
yeah,
learn
you've had such an incredible on-ramp, I guess, from your teenage years to starting your own company and then really being able to grow, scale, exit, and now running 12 to 13 companies. But
yeah.
I always like to start the show really, it's the pursuit of excellence. So trying to understand what your perspective of excellence actually is, or the pursuit. What is the journey for you?
Yeah, pursuit of excellence for me, how do I define that? I guess what I would say is, for me, it's always striving for getting better. So for myself, right, like I never want to be satisfied. I want to be satisfied with where I'm at, but not content. Like I want to continue chasing after not just the next business, but even growth in and of myself as I'm pursuing excellence. So just that continual journey, that continual chase for further growth, further acceleration of just who I am and who my businesses are.
Yeah, no, I love it. I guess what is it that, really was something that set you up for success early on? What was it that really looked like for you starting out?
Yeah. No, for sure. That's a great question. For me, I think I'd have to go back to my parents. Like I was raised pretty, we had like a small farm. And so it was, the eggs and chopping wood and working hard and taking, mowing the lawn and taking out the trash and doing just all the stuff, the hard work. And that really kind of later on in life, as I needed to make more money than when I was a pastor, I had to make a little more money. And so on the side, I would go out and I would just pick up any kind of job that I could really do with my hands. And I was always willing to work hard. And so that hard work ethic, being willing to do what other people really aren't willing to do, that always set me up pretty well. So
yeah, my grandpa used to say, you measure 3 times and you cut 1.
There you go. Yeah.
That you do with intention, and that
Love
there's
that.
no substitute for the actual work. You still got to do it.
For sure. You got to go after it. Good.
When you are building these companies, it obviously like starting out at 16, what was that first company like? What set you up for the next levels of success?
Yeah, I mean, first company going way back, would have been, my parents had hired somebody to put decorative cobbling, which is kind of like lawn edging around a lawn, just the rock version of that. And so they had hired somebody to do that. And my dad was like, you're going out there and you're working with that guy and you're going to learn how to do it. And, I'm sure my dad, looking back, I'm sure my dad paid the guy more than he should have to actually work with me, because I'm sure I was just in the way, right?
I love
But,
it.
getting out there and just the hard work and learning and trying to constantly be challenging myself to new things. I think that was kind of the first one. Pretty quick after that, I was working within a gazebo company, making gazebos for people. And that was a company I was working for straight out of like wood shop in high school. And within that, probably a year into that season, they asked me to start making these specialty bird feeders. And so I started doing that. And then within about 6 months after that, they literally gave me the model and they said, here, you go make this at home. This is your thing now. And so that turned into kind of another own business. I was probably 18 at that point. So
Oh, wow. I mean, that's awesome. So my dad used to make me tag along for all of his projects. So he was Mr. Mom growing up because he had two vertebrae that had disintegrated on him. And so his project, while, being Mr. Mom, was to build an additional unit in our backyard. And so I would tag along and learn all the electrical wiring, all of the carpentry. And he would actually pay all the tile guys to teach him how to do all the really precise tiling techniques. So that fully resonates with me.
Yeah, well, we're hiring Tinja.
I have some random skill sets.
You might have what it takes. Yeah.
It was funny. So when I was transitioning careers after my parents retired, and I was having my own come to Jesus experience of, do I take on the family consultancy? What do I figure out what this looks like for me? Do I redefine it? Do I pivot into finance? So I was contemplating going into the oil field, but in order
Oh,
to
wow.
do transition into that, you actually have to go and work in the field. Like, so,
Hmm.
so they asked
Yep, go
me, "Are
get
you
dirty.
mechanically inclined?" And I was, I can figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. I know mechanics and
Uh,
stuff.
but to bring you back to, the true success of a very
Mhm.
recent exit, you had significant growth year over year. And so I'm
Mhm.
curious what it was that, went from you being owner operator to CEO. What were some of the really key things for you to be able to, one, have that level of growth inside of that company, but two,
Yeah.
have that transition of mindset and role and perspective? Yeah.
Yeah. So to the first question, I would say that honestly, for me, it was really natural. I can't even say that I was smart enough to be like, hey, let's go after this next big thing. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't give myself that much credit. It was just very much, I've always been really big on networks and relationship and building those networks and relationships. And so a lot of what we built over those years was based on that. It was a customer that we were working for that had an adjacent need, an adjacent vertical need from what I was currently doing. And they would, we would establish relationship and eventually friendships. And I would essentially hear from them, hey, we're having issues with this, version of the company or this problem or whatever it is. And so for me, it was just really natural to jump into those other adjacent verticals. I would just look at that as, hey, a problem that I can solve for my customer, right? And when you do that for your customers, then they just become even more loyal, right?
Yeah.
No longer am I just solving one of their problems, I'm solving 2, 3, 4, 5 of their problems, all with one call. So we like to call it like one source of truth. So once I got to the place where we were doing like 5 or 6 different pieces of a
Yeah.
project, they knew that they could call me instead of 5 or 6 different guys and get an answer on all of it,
I
right?
love
So
it.
that was a huge piece for me. Second question was, sorry.
The mindset shift. So to go from
Oh
the
yeah.
actual operator, the person that's
Hmm.
that's solving all the problems, to being the person that ends up being the Sherpa, right? The shepherd of
Sure.
of the flock.
Yeah, yeah. The way I'll answer that is that was a hard transition,
Yeah.
honestly, because I think for me, I always saw more value in the actual physical work, like
Mm.
doing the actual work,
Yeah.
than kind of managing or running the actual project. And so it took me a while to really get to that place where it's like, okay, I need to actually be running the guys, not running the machines or whatever it is. And then pretty quick after that, like I realized that there was almost a limit on my abilities or my how much I could handle. Like I
Yeah.
had a cap. And so pretty soon after that, I just started kind of bringing in people around me, high level CFOs and operators and stuff like that I could run with. And for me, it just became a real multiplication factor where I could actually transition into visionary and dream and going after the next account or the next client or the next state or whatever it might be. And they could really focus on the integrations of the business itself and the finance and all those things. So it took a while, but
Yeah.
got me into a place where I could really do what I'm best at, which is like the networking and the building and then the dreaming and vision casting
Yeah.
for future of the business. So
Absolutely. So you hit on it. Something that resonates with me very like profoundly is the true value proposition of a complete system sale. So when like we're coming at it from a consultative standpoint, I worked primarily in oil and gas before finance, and we were doing I built out their virtual integrated system sales library to be able to do artificial lift, frac, flowback, and the services side of it. But to be able to be that one-stop shop is invaluable. To be able to, have cross-trained people to be able to solve all that problems is truly such a competitive differentiator. So the fact that you
yeah.
were able to do that and scale quickly with that is outstanding. We do that with our consultancy on the finance side, is being that one-stop shop to be able to do a full gap analysis and support so that people aren't having to cherry pick what their dream team looks like, so that they
Sure.
can scale quickly and do the recasting of
Yeah.
vision. It's so powerful.
Yeah,
Very cool.
totally agree. And that's really what, like when I look at some of the success that we had, right? We built these teams of people, and the way when PE and all these groups started coming in and looking at us, they really paid like a good multiple because we had such a well integrated team. I mean, our team when we were acquired, our team was scaled to do 1.5 times what we were currently doing. Like we were our core team, right? So
Yeah.
our managers and high level people, we were really set up to be able to run even harder, even further. And so when the PE group came in, I mean, they knew they could just kind of add fuel to the fire,
Yeah.
and our team that they acquired could handle it. So it's a massive thing that PE and all these big groups are looking at for sure.
Yeah. Well, so now that you're on that side of the game, right? So you're not
Mhm.
necessarily on the sell side anymore. Well, you are, but
I am still, yeah.
now that you've got 13 companies, but now that you've had that
Yeah.
experience and then immediately redeployed and very quickly, I would love to understand, what it was that you were looking for. How did you prioritize how you invested? That is such a
Mm.
a very tight window to make those
Yeah.
choices. So
Yep.
what was that like?
Yeah, so full disclosure, right? Like I wouldn't say necessarily that the way that I did it is the right way to do it, right?
Okay.
I did what I knew and what I
Yeah.
understood, which what I knew and understood was, hey, I'm going to jump right back into real estate and blue collar businesses and all this kind of stuff. And so that's really, I redeployed there. If I had it to do again, it would probably be done a little bit differently. Just I
Okay.
would take a little more time. I would sit on it a little bit longer. I mean, leading up to the sale, I was like, man, I got to redeploy this. I don't like sitting on money, so that's maybe one
Okay.
of my weaknesses. I just don't like sitting on money, and so when we were coming up to the sale and I knew what it was going to look like, I was like, okay, so I need to this for real estate and this for passive income and this for businesses and I just started kind of spinning out all those things, and we really went aside from the fact that I probably went a little too quick, right? We really did a good job of diversifying. My
Okay.
my previous to that, I was very heavy in operational businesses. I had a little bit of commercial real estate, but coming out of the exit, I feel like we diversified pretty well. We went into some passive stuff, and then we went into some more blue collar businesses, and then we went into some more commercial real estate, some more residential real estate, some rentals and things like that. So that's kind of how we went through that process.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, I'm curious how you prioritized, like what it was
Mm,
when you're evaluating where you deploy the funds.
yeah,
If you were to do it differently now,
sure.
how
Yeah.
do you identify true investment opportunities that speak to you?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so if I was going to do it different now, that's a great way to answer that question. If I was going to do it different now, I think what I would have done is take a piece of it and put it into some type of passive investment that would just
Okay.
kind of take care of my normal bills.
Okay.
Um,
You just put it all into all the things.
I mean,
Good for you.
it's just kinda, and we had some right that we can live off of, and,
Yeah.
and so everything's fine. But there was definitely like I would go back and I would say, hey, I'm going to take this much and I'm going to put it there, and that's going to be what we live on, and
Yeah.
we're good. We also took a chunk and we put it into a family foundation that we then went out and we got a youth center because our family's heart is for the vulnerable and the fatherless, and so we really wanted to impact kind of our local youth, and so we did that. And then on the investment side, we really on the blue collar businesses that I look at, we're constantly, and everybody's talking about it right now, so I don't need to beat the bush, but we're talking about like the blue collar boomer type businesses, guys that are looking to get out. We went into several of those where guys were just, they wanted to walk away, right? And so a lot of times you can get into those businesses for maybe a lower multiple or a lower valuation, and most of the time with those businesses, they're not integrated to current times. And so the one company that we bought, the owner who'd been doing it for like 40 years, he was still doing customer tracking on post-it notes on his computer,
Oh,
literally.
wow.
Like he was like, hey, John Smith, and it was stuck on his computer with his phone number. He had an actual physical Rolodex, which I don't even know if you've seen one.
I
You're probably
I
too young to, but-
I'm a true millennial. I'm turning 40 this year. So.
Okay. But like those kind of companies are great because if your current operation team and stuff like that is integrated to current times, even AI and stuff like that that's coming on board, right? If you have those kind of opportunities, you're stepping into a business that's literally 10, 20 years behind the times, and you can come in and you can revamp their website, add SEO, you can revamp, add customer CRMs, you can add in SOPs, you can just add all those things, and there's an immediate upside to what you're bringing to the table. And so I'm looking at a company, and maybe it's worth $500,000 or something like that. I know that or maybe they're doing $1 million top line rev. I know that I can come in and probably push that to 1.5 just by integrating systems and processes that they don't currently have in operation.
Yeah.
That's massive for me. And so I look at a ton. We look at probably 2 to 3 businesses a month right now.
Oh, wow.
That's just realistic. Like we're just constantly looking. But last year, I think we only acquired 3.
Okay.
of those businesses.
Yeah.
So, we're looking at 30 different businesses and we acquired 10% of those. So
Okay.
they still have to fit the mark. I'm not going out and I'm buying tech. I'm not going out and buying medical. Like I like my blue collar space. Those
Yeah.
are my people.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to stick there, but I really specifically want to find upside, like almost immediate upside. I want to know that I can come in and make a difference day one,
Yeah.
and I can push rev. I can, add some employees. I can add some vehicles, whatever it might be, to push that level up so that my return on investment is quicker. Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my brain goes immediately. So when we're positioning investments, we're looking at how do we buy in at a discount, so it's an immediate bump in 8 to 10%.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. If you can
Yeah,
get that discount purchase price, I mean,
yeah.
you're already ahead of the game. So
Yeah,
it's
but then
massive.
it's the immediate value. So when we present our plan proposal, we're literally
Mhm.
showcasing how do we pay for ourselves in tax savings alone. So it's like
For
it,
sure.
when
That's
we're
great.
like I love that that's how you've evaluated the companies that you actually buy into.
Mhm.
We like to also think about the founder friendly side of the conversation, doing right by the founder, and
Mhm.
really making sure that when we're helping them get ready for an LOI, and having those negotiations, that we're talking through the mindset shift of going from owner operator to no longer operating.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you support that transition for them, or what are you finding with that?
Yeah, I think, reality is I think everybody there you almost have to come into those deals with a really open mindset as to what they do want to do. There is some guys that, if they just retire and go home, like they'd probably be dead in a year because
Yeah.
they'd be bored out of their mind and they just wouldn't know what to do with themselves. And so for us, we really come into every situation with kind of just open mind as far as what needs to happen, what wants to happen. So we just acquired one, and the husband and wife that've been running it for 30 years, they'd already bought a boat down in Florida, and they're like, peace, we're out of here. We
Hi.
don't call us, don't anything, right? And so we have to know that there's somebody in line that can take over and run the business and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then we'll have other ones where we'll have an owner that wants to kind of peace out, but he still wants to be around, right?
Yeah.
So he might stick around, and we might pay him, 2 days a week or something like that to help out with different things or customers or engineering or whatever it might be. So I think every scenario is a little bit different. And if you can come into it understanding that it can all work, you
Yeah.
just have to find what that right play is for you. I think that's a helpful thing for sure.
Yeah, it's so important for me. Like I think it is like extremely important to be able to support them through that process, not just make sure that the financiers are where they want them to be.
Yeah.
So you are a man of faith who has created some pretty incredible things along your way. So one of the things that you mentioned is the impact legacy. I'd love for you
Mhm.
to talk me through what that is and the
Yeah.
impact that you're making. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So back when we had the exit, we decided we're going to take a piece. We're going to start this family foundation, and that's specifically just kind of a family office, family foundation that has the youth center in the van. The impact legacy is something that's kind of come up over the last year that we're really trying to develop. And what that is, for me, I feel like there is almost a responsibility on business owners to do more than just make money,
Yeah.
right? And so one of the kind of taglines behind impact legacy is purpose beyond profit. And so my question would be to most people that might be listening to this or that see this or whatever is, okay, great. You made all the money, you made your $1 billion, whatever, you got your Ferrari, your yacht, your plane, whatever your dreams are. And
Yeah.
I'm not knocking any of that stuff, just to
Yeah.
be clear. Like, great, run after your goals, go after those things. But my question would be, and then what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, unto what? Like, is there a purpose beyond just that piece of it?
Yep.
And so what we set out to do, and what we're still kind of working through, and we're going to have the website up and launch soon, and we're going to have some other integrations that we're going to bring in, but we really want to create a space where people can look into nonprofits that give in different ways and different platforms, I guess, that give in different ways. And we want to be able to vet them so that, John Smith or whoever that wants to give back in some way, they can get on our website and look at, okay, he cares about rescuing of trafficked kids, or he cares about women that have been abused and beaten, or he cares about homelessness or hunger with the children, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like pick
Yeah.
your kind of give back piece. We want to create kind of a platform, and what we are creating is a platform where people can jump on the website, and we will have kind of pre-vetted these nonprofits, and so you'll be able to look and see what their impact is, like where the money goes to, how much of the money that's given goes to where, and really see what your dollars, if you're actually going to give money, what is that money going towards, and how is it going to actually make an impact? And so that's kind of the goal of Impact Legacy and what we're setting out to do. We know it's a little bit lofty, but we really want to give people, especially that come into wealth and stuff like that, an opportunity to give back in whatever they are, right? Somebody brought up the other day, well, what if somebody loves puppies? That's fine. Save a puppy. I like, we're going to look at kind of all of it if that's where your heart is, right? We want people to be able to give back. For me and our family, as I mentioned, we care about the vulnerable and the fatherless. And so we're going to continue to pursue ways to impact and give back to the youth and, young men that are growing up without fathers, whether it be because their father's gone or because their father's an alcoholic or because their father's just absentee, right?
Sure.
We want to impact those people and the vulnerable, right? There's a lot of single women and widows and, just people that need help. And we really want to be able to impact their lives. And I think business is a great way to be able to do that. Like the business in a lot of ways, I think, does that better than the church does nowadays.
Sure.
If I can just be blunt. I think some of the church is missing the mark as far as like how they're actually impacting the community around them. And really doing what Jesus calls us to do, which is the vulnerable and the lost and the fatherless. And so for me, it's creating that site where hopefully people will be able to get on, look at something that really hits their heart. And again, I don't care what it is, but like, is there something that hits your heart that really speaks to you that you want to give to beyond the plane, the car, the house, right? All those things. So that's the goal or the idea behind it. And we're excited about it for sure.
I love it. So philanthropy plays a very large part of my life. And really, I admire what you are doing because it makes it accessible for somebody to be able to plug in very quickly, but also understand that the community behind it, right? So it's finding other people that share the same mission. Philanthropy for me really, so I randomly, I reigned as Ms. Texas International 2022. And it was one of the most, I was finishing a buy-sell agreement with a client who was a former Mrs. USA. And I semi-jokingly asked, like, what would it take? And, 6 weeks later, she had me in boot camp and off to the races. So, but
cool.
during that, it was really cool. So I ended up winning. And during that year, I served over 15 nonprofits, and on top of my own platform. And it really was about serving the community and bringing awareness to the cause and being able to fund things like wheelchairs for warriors. And there is a puppy nonprofit that I'd be happy to introduce people to.
Yeah, great. Love it.
So I absolutely, I don't have a single nonprofit because I really want to help as many communities as possible. And so I agree that I don't think that there's enough churches that really are digging into the community support. There's plenty that are doing good, but I think truly the businesses and the private wealth has been very powerful, at least in my sphere.
Yeah, that's great. That's so cool that you did that. And no, it's awesome. I mean, look, the fact that people are talking about it, I think is the power behind some of this stuff, right? The ability to be able to have these conversations, say, hey, like, what tugs on your heart? And let's figure out ways to like really impact those things, right? It's just a massive thing. The fact that you did that for a year or whatever you said is awesome.
It was intense. It was literally one nonprofit thing every other week, plus my own platform. And so being in the community and sought out to support the causes. The crown always is way more powerful than just a standalone, person. So being able to have a national platform behind you to amplify a message is huge. And I think that's really what my purpose here with Pursuit of Excellence is, being able to share people's success, but also their come to Jesus moments. What was it that they hit up against a wall for that put them on a completely different path, which, I would actually love to know, for you, what were some of the, as my father would say, the alligators that you wrestled in order to really take it. I mean, having a high eight-figure exit is a wild success story. So, what were some of those moments that you had that really were a catalyst for you to set you up for that level of success?
Yeah. Man, we might need to do it.
Fair, fair.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Look, I mean, I can go back and think through times within the business where it was so stressful and so much stuff going on that I pull over to the side of the road and would just weep because it was just too much pressure, too much stuff going on. Like I'm not going to make payroll. I'm not like just really hard seasons like that. I had, again, for another time probably, but we had a whole season where my wife left and I felt like God told me to pursue her. And so I pursued her through it and we officially got divorced, but I continued pursuing her and she ended up coming back about a year later. And so there's a
That's
crazy story there.
incredible. Yeah.
That I can't totally get into right now,
Yeah.
but like there's all of these, when I think back to what brought me to this place, there's all of these moments that really could have just broken me genuinely. And God just allowed them to work in me to the good. One of my favorite verses is Romans 8:28. It says, all things work together for the good of those who are in Christ Jesus and called according to his purposes. And when I look at my life, it's this continual season of the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That promise that God can take all of it and use it for the good in my life, I have clung to that promise for my entire life. And I've watched him use the bad, the ugly, the good, all of it to shift me and build me and grow me to the place where I'm at today. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, to be clear. There were some hard times that I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. You know, you feel like David in the Psalms, just like, God, where are you? Like, what is going on, you know? But I know, and the testimony of my life is just, hey, there's these things that happen, good, bad, ugly, all of it. And God has used them all to get me to where I am today. And so I'm so thankful for all those seasons.
Yeah, so powerful. What an incredible testimony. You know, it really is so powerful for what you've gone through, but also what you've created and how you're continuing to shepherd people to more meaningful impact. So I'm trying this thing now where we do rapid fire questions. So are you ready? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Let's go rapid fire.
Okay, a belief that you had at 25 that you no longer agree with.
That I have to do it all by myself.
Ooh, tell me more.
Yeah. I think I ran a really, really long time solo, thinking that like I just had to like hustle, work harder, do more, you know, work the 24 hours straight, the 36 hours straight, the 48 hours straight. Like I've done all of it. And I thought that I had to do it by myself. And probably by the time I was 35, I think I got to a place where I was like, I need help. Like I have to surround myself with people that can run as hard as I run, and complement to what I run, right? So again, like bringing in, I'm not like a big finance guy, so bringing in like a high level CFO type person that can really help me run and build and grow. Realizing that adding those partners, and again, a lot of times I gave up equity, but adding those partners to my team, when it's not a 1 + 1 = 2, it's a 1 + 1 = 10.
Yeah.
Like it's a multiplication, or 1 × 1 = 10. It's a multiplication that I just never thought possible. So the running alone I thought I had to, and it's just not the case.
I always like a team approach better than a lone wolf approach. So that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Best investment you've made outside of money.
Best investment I've made outside of money. I mean, I have to. Can I give you two?
Yes, please.
So the first one would be my family, like my kids and my family. Specific time, we're doing a little vacation here coming up. Like I sacrificed a lot of that building the businesses. That's just, you know, as you're running as hard as we run sometimes, there's just sacrifices that come with that. Sacrifices that you make as a business owner, but your family also pays. Yeah. Right. And unknowingly. Yeah. And so the time that I spend with my family, my kids specifically, just building and growing is incredible. The other piece is that I would say is just like time in me, like investment in me, whether it be through just growth, seminars, masterminds, whatever it might be, but also like physically. I probably 6 years ago now, like I really dove into kind of the just general health stuff. So like my morning routine is the sauna and the cold plunge and the workout, and I sit with my Bible and I read and I pray, and you know, I have a set time that's like me. Like kids are asleep, everybody's asleep, like I'm up, and I'm taking care of me.
Yeah.
And that was massive, just because I think when you're running as hard as we run, sometimes that the health stuff can get just kind of shoved to the side, right? You just go and you hit Carl's Jr. or McDonald's or whatever, because it's easy. And so getting to a place where I learned I needed to take care of myself, that's been massive. Just health overall, mental clarity, like all those kind of things. So
yeah. No, I agree. So it's, so Mariana and I do, Bibles before business. So every morning, Monday through
come on.
Thursday. Yeah. So, but I try to get my workout in before that, because we're on a mission to do epic shit this year. So
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you guys are kicking it. That's awesome.
yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so one thing every blue collar business owner needs to understand about money. I know, sorry.
That's a deep question.
Yeah.
I can give several answers. Money doesn't give you happiness, which is, I think, a normal common one.
Yeah.
Money will give you a lot of things, and some of those things can bring some happiness, temporary. But I think my caveat to that would be that I don't know that money can give you joy. And I would define the difference between happiness and joy as happiness can be in a circumstance, or I go and have fun, I spend some money, I get on a boat and I surf and I do whatever. But joy is something that I don't know that money can give you joy. It is, I would say that joy comes, one, from God, but also from just your life and how your life is set up, and just how you operate and what you do. Like there's joy that can come just through those things, which are external from financial and even external from pressures, right? And stress and all those kind of things. You can still have joy in the midst of struggle and chaos. So that would definitely be something I would say.
Yeah. It's joy is, for me, needs to be prioritized just alongside peace, right? We the high achievers in us can bulldoze all of the action items, but in the end, are we doing it for the right reasons? And does it actually bring you joy? I mean, my hustle brings me joy, but in the end, the burnout really does take its toll. So it's, I always like to, so go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, like, I've even gone as far as to, like, in the last couple of years, like I specifically find times within my calendar. So over the course of a year, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, where I am setting aside time, a couple of days or even a day or whatever it is, with some of my closest friends to do epic, fun, crazy stuff. Just stuff that, like, you push aside as you're building the businesses. But, like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to, ride side by sides. I'm going to go shoot guns. I'm going to go, surf. I'm going to, whatever it is, like, find something that, like, just will make you laugh and bring joy into your life. Like, those things are, I put those to the side for a long time. And I think you just become bitter and angry and all this kind of stuff. So finding specific times where you can find ways to do that and laugh is just epic, especially if you can do it with your kids.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No, I absolutely. No, they need to learn it from somebody. They need to
For sure.
appreciate it because somebody showed them. So this year I implemented the Jesse Eitzler, the gentleman who created the big ass calendar. His VP, I believe. Anyways, she posted their protocol for their annual calendar to do a misogi, which is one absolutely epic thing that the most, like, that is challenging, that you have to commit and dedicate growth, time, effort, financial commitment to do.
Yeah.
And so one misogi and then 6 mini adventures. So I can't just do it small. So I decided to do a lot of really cool, challenging things this year. Yeah. So
and is that high rock stuff part of that, or is
the Racing Pro was really scary for me because I have a very I've won a bunch of things in athletics, and I would classify myself as a hybrid athlete anyway. So I was I held records in swimming. I played Olympic development soccer. I'm a collegiate All-American in sailing. I quit sailing and went into triathlon. So I raced collegiate nationals in triathlon and ran my first marathon that year. So it was never, it's always been about pushing boundaries. But, life happens and, approaching 40, and I really wanted to be able to challenge my potential. I really wanted to be able to discover what
Yeah.
exactly, I don't want to waste it. I don't want to let it go by the wayside. And as you get older, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
so yeah,
Yeah.
the Hyrox Pro was an incredible transformation for me that I committed to. So we've got a
Yeah.
few more things. So Q1, we got one Masogi down.
Let's go. That's so cool. Look, just that you're running after that stuff, right? I mean, I think everybody's heard like comfort's a drug. And I
Yeah.
think when we get into that space where we're just comfortable, stuff's easier, all that kind of stuff, it can just zap all of your drive, your potential, and your run. And so the fact that you're doing that's incredible. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, thank you. I was very fortunate to find a business partner that wants to run just as hard with the business, mission.
Yeah.
I've had my own journey, but being able
Mhm.
to find people that run just as hard and are just as committed and your core values
Yeah.
align and the
Incredible.
impact that you're trying to make aligns, it makes it so much easier to go all in on the rest of the things as well. So,
Yeah.
we're
Incredible.
yeah. So
I love
yes,
that.
it's exciting. Okay, more rapid fire. Are you ready?
More
Not that
rapid
it's
fire.
rapid
Yeah. Go.
fire.
I'm getting
um,
tired, but go. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So, on perspective shifts. So, a belief that you had early that you had to unlearn.
Ooh, man, I'd go back to that running alone thing, but let me
Mm-hmm.
try and think of something else here. Hang on. Belief that I had early that I had to unlearn. I guess. I think. Okay, I'll kind of piggyback off
Sure.
the thought that I had to run alone, but
Yeah.
the fact that I think early on I felt like I had to know all of it.
Okay.
And so again, kind of piggybacking off that other thought, but I felt like I had to understand, the finances to the T. I felt like I had to understand the
Mm,
operations to the T. I felt like I had to understand, the SOPs, the HR, the payroll. I felt like I had to understand every little piece of every little thing. And
yeah.
while I think that if you have a small enough business, that's probably appropriate, right?
Sure.
But as you scale, I don't believe, I think it's a limiting factor, right? I think you're going to hit a place where you can't actually know everything within everything. And so for me, having to learn that my skill set is here, and if I can run within my skill set all the time, that is the best possible place for my businesses.
Yeah.
If I divert and I want to figure out, more about the finances and stuff like that, again, not that that's a bad thing. I can jump into that and figure it out, but for a season, because it pulls me away from what I'm best at. And the best possible place for me in my businesses is me running full force in what I'm the best at,
Yeah.
right? And so we say within our businesses, like, I only want to do what only I can do.
Mm,
Right, and I want to find people that are the best at what only they can do.
yeah.
Right, like I want to find everybody and put everybody in those roles on the bus in the right seats and going in the same direction. If I can do that and everybody's doing what they're best at, I feel like that's the best way to really throw fuel on a fire within a business. And that's where, like, some of our businesses, once we found those places and those positions within it, well, that's when we saw like 30% growth year over year for like 8 years straight.
Wow.
And eventually brought us to an exit, right? And
Yeah.
so those positions and realizing that, like, I don't actually have to be the best at every one of these things. I can be really good at what I'm at, and then I'm going to bring somebody in to be really good at what they're at and do that. So learning that I didn't have to be the only guy that knows all of the things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so crucial. This is why we have
Yeah.
people like Mariana to be able to identify the role and responsibility and then and then match them with the right
A
person.
100%. Mariana is incredible, as you know,
Yeah.
and having someone that can really help you understand what your place is and where you're going to run. And she posted something the other day about, like, knowing your numbers and
Yep.
what are you shooting for, what are you growing after, right? All those kind of things. It's like, you have to know those things,
Yeah.
but you don't have to know, like, why we spent $2 on a pencil.
No.
Right? So it's just it's like knowing what your giftedness is,
Yep.
and then running there and letting other people come alongside and help you grow.
Yeah. But we don't want to be bleeding margin if we don't have to. We want to be as lean Six
For
Sigma as
sure.
we can.
For sure, especially if you're scaling towards an exit, because every dollar matters, right? So,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I work with a lot of founders that forget that they're building an asset. So
mhm.
it's they forget that there is an exit whether or not you are planning for it or not. So it's
Mhm.
really understand what are you building, and it's not just a lifestyle business. We have to be able
Mhm.
to build something of value and to be able to decentralize yourself. So what is the asset that you're building? So
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, yeah, my brain goes all the
No, it's good.
directions.
No, it's so good. Look, when we were first building the business and stuff too, it was just like, what can we write off on the business?
Yeah.
And we would put as much as we could there. But as you and look, most founders when they're building a business, they're so just head down,
Yeah.
like in the trenches, doing this stuff. They can't even pick their head up to figure out where they're actually going. And so the thought of an exit is not even crossing their minds unless they jump on a podcast like this or they listen to a podcast like this, something like that. And then they start thinking like, oh, what would an exit look like, right? But even for myself, that wasn't even in the realm of reality or possibility, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. It just wasn't something I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Now I am, obviously, with the other businesses we have, because now I've had a peek behind the curtain. It's like, oh, okay, like this is great. I'm going to
Yeah.
scale the businesses like this. So it's good.
Well, so what would you, we work with a lot of blue collar, high income earner, well, high
Yeah.
revenue,
Mhm.
for the person that you just described who is head
Yeah.
down in the weeds, that's not thinking about, the asset that they're creating. They are
Mhm.
thinking about, how do I pay my bills? How do I build up my retirement account? What
Yeah.
would you actually coach them to do differently?
Yeah, I think look within especially the blue collar space, you get two kinds of guys. You get a guy that like once they start making money, they want to live the life,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of having money. And
Yeah.
so they go out and they buy the new car, they buy the new truck, they buy the boat, they buy the quads, they just start spending the money that they get, right? So the lifestyle
Yeah.
brand
Yeah.
company, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. And then you get the other guys, which was much more along my lane, which was we put 95% of our profits right back into business growth. I mean, there
Yep.
were years where I had other companies that were paying my salary. And so this one company that I was making good money on, now I'm going to trim it back to nothing,
Mm.
like literally zero salary. And it's going to still be 50, 60% of my workload
Wow.
because I want to take all the profits and all that stuff and put it right back into the business so that I can grow. That's a much harder thing for most people
Yeah.
to be like, I'm going to, we would call it just like delayed gratification within business. Like instead of buying the new truck or the boat or whatever it is, I know that I'm scaling something that I'm hoping to get to an exit. And in order to do that, I've got to keep my budget, my personal budget, like
Yeah.
tight. I've got to not do the vacations. And look, we did that for years.
Yeah.
I've mentioned it on some of these other podcasts. It's like we did 3-4 day vacations max
Yeah.
for 10, 15 years. Like there was no week-long vacations, 2-week-long. It just wasn't a thing because I had to work, right? And so again, the sacrifice of it. So for these guys that are running and just have their head down and are in the weeds day to day, I think one of the best things that I did was surround myself with people that were doing or started listening to people that were doing the bigger things, right? I think when you're in the weeds of all of it, it's so hard to even think about 6 months from now or a year from now or 2 years from now, right? And they're just thinking about Friday's payroll
Yeah.
or next Friday's payroll or how do I get another truck to serve this customer right? Like they're so stuck there. And so I think starting to listen to guys that have been where you want to go, I think is a really good thing, especially if you can find somebody that's just genuine and gonna shoot you straight. I try to be as real as possible.
Yeah.
And I think you've seen some of that stuff. Like I don't care. Like somebody thinks I'm an idiot because I did something, that's fine. Like gosh, I just don't care. And so like find guys that have got to where you want to get to, and then maybe just start listening to some of their stuff,
Yeah.
podcasts or social or whatever it might be. And then even better than that would be surrounding yourself with a group of what I would consider like wise counsel, like
Yeah.
just guys that you can bounce ideas off of and guys that are maybe doing better than you, but you're trying to be like that. Right. I think that can be huge. Just having like a network of people that are close to you that you can run stuff by and build with. So.
Yeah. It's interesting because I run into a lot of people who listen to all the podcasts. They read all of the books. And so it's one thing to understand it intellectually. It's another thing to implement.
Yeah, that's actually a super good point. If I can throw one more
Yeah,
thing in there.
please.
I also did that for a while where I was listening to like anybody, you name it, the Ed Milet's, the Grant Cardones, the Frizella, the, Ed Elliott, whatever, like you list them on there. Like I was probably listening to them. And it got to a point where I literally realized I was like, man, I'm like consuming all this stuff, but I'm not implementing any of it into my life or into my businesses. And so I think there's definitely a place of overload where it's like, hey, like take in the content that you need to be able to grow and implement like now, but maybe don't take in more than that, right?
Yeah.
For me, even as like I'll pick up a book or a podcast, something like that, and I'll read to the point where like something hits me and I'm like, oh, I need to do this. And I'll literally put the book down.
Yep.
Or I'll stop the podcast and I'll just kind of implement that one thing.
Yeah.
I think if you get too much information, too much stuff going on there, it's that paralysis of I don't know what to do next, right?
Yeah.
And so finding something that's really going to make an impact now and just stopping, like implement that one thing.
Yep.
Don't listen to anybody else. Don't do anything else. Just implement that one thing. And then once that's implemented, then come back, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I like to say try it on. Like, but don't just like try it on and dabble at it. Give it a good college try, to see if it's something that really resonates with you or doesn't jive at all. But you can't just dip a toe in and hope that it does what it's supposed to do,
For sure. Yeah. You got to actually do it. You
Yeah.
got to run in there and got to implement and got to figure it out. So it's good.
I love it. Okay. So legacy. What do you want your kids to understand about work?
The legacy is such an interesting word. I genuinely didn't start really thinking about it until, the year before the exit. What do I want my kids to understand about work? I mean, I think one of the hardest things as I've stepped into the season of having new wealth, right? Figuring out how to make sure that your kids are learning that hard work and effort and learning and continually learning, growing and pushing yourself, like you said, in to do hard things and stuff like that. That's such an important thing to pass on to your children. And so as I think about the things I want them to learn about work, it's like, hey, like it's not easy. Like it's hard and it'll shape you, but you have to be willing to put the time in and to do it. The other stuff I think I would want them to understand just about work is that there's so many avenues and so many niches. I really, with my kids, I've really told them like, look, like you can chase after whatever you want to chase after. Not that, I don't give them the whole like, oh, you can be an astronaut if you want to be an astronaut. I mean, you could, I guess, but it's not that talk. It's really like the, hey, find like a need, find somewhere where you can add real value, right? And then put your time and energy into that thing to solve other people's problems, to bring value to scenarios where people are stuck or whatever it is. And that can be anything. I mean, I have some of the weirdest little niche businesses that provide a very small niche service that I didn't even know were businesses until I heard about them, right? And I love in conversations just talking to business people and stuff like that. One of my favorite things to do is just take meetings and hear like what makes people tick. Like, what do you do? Like, why do you do that? What's your niche? Like, why do you, all those kind of things? Because there's so many people doing so many cool things.
Yeah.
And I want my kids to understand like, hey, you just find something that you're good at and that you're passionate at and then run with everything that you freaking have after that thing. Like all of it. Don't stop. Don't give up because it's hard. Like just go, so.
Yeah. So powerful.
Learn to work hard.
Yeah. No, work ethic is you can't replace that. So I mean, amazing.
It feels like a dying breed also
really,
in our generations.
I mean, with AI, it's hard to teach.
It's so hard. Yeah. These kids coming out. I tell my kids all the time, look, if you learn to work hard, like you're gonna be okay.
Yep.
No matter what happens. Just learn to work hard.
Yeah, no, that's wild. Okay, last and final question. If everything disappeared tomorrow, what would you rebuild first?
Money constraints or no money constraints?
However you want to interpret it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So if everything stopped, what I would rebuild first would be my team.
Okay.
I'd absolutely rebuild it. Like, I know you're probably asking about business, maybe.
But whichever. Yeah,
I would rebuild my team. Like one of the most powerful things that I've watched, and the reason we have, 12, 13 businesses, even to this day, after we exited like 6 or 7 of them back in 24. And the reason we're continuing to grow businesses is because I have a team. It's like a special ops team that I can implement into any business at any time, anywhere. And I know that we can crush it. Right.
Dominate,
and so understanding that I can bring people in around me that are really good at legal and finance and operations and all these things. And we can look at businesses and figure out how to scale and build and grow and figure out where the holes are within the business and figure out where the business would break if we doubled in size overnight, whatever it might be, right? Like having that team with me is the most important thing that I personally have today. And again, the reason why we look at, 2, 3, 4 businesses a month, because there's capacity for these guys to be able to jump in,
it's awesome.
Triage almost, figure out what's going on, and then implement systems and processes to take this business to the next level. So the first thing I would do would be to build my team.
Love it.
And again, if that meant I had to give up a little bit of equity to go into these businesses, then so be it, because having the right team and the guys that you can run with, it's
crucial.
It's massive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it. Well,
And then
thank
the
you.
other
Go ahead.
piece,
Yeah,
the
go
other
ahead.
piece I'd say, sorry, the other piece I'd say is just I would stick within my lane, which is blue collar. Like I don't care, I love the blue collar space, the trades specifically, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, all that kind of stuff. Like anything in relation to like that blue collar hard work, get your hands dirty. I would go right back into whatever I felt, whatever opportunity presented itself first, and I would dive back into that stuff. I think it's probably the last thing that'll be fully touched by AI. I think like we're integrating AI into a lot of our blue collar businesses, obviously, because there's ways to do that. But as far as the actual physical work of changing out a toilet or
Yep.
cleaning out somebody's sewer or fixing someone's electrical or whatever, like that's we're going to continue building that stuff for a
Yep.
little while. And so I love that space. And at our youth group, I even encourage like the kids and the junior senior, they're like, we don't know what to do. I'm like, get in the trades.
Learn a trade.
Get
Yep.
in the trades. Get in the trades and you're going to be okay,
Yeah,
so anyway.
amazing. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for being on the show. Where do
Oh, thank
people
you.
Yeah, I mean it's so important to be able to share that wisdom. So I genuinely
Yeah.
appreciate it. How do people find you, connect with you? What do you want to leave
Yeah.
them with? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it so much, Ginger. I just thanks for taking the time and the quick little podcast interview and stuff. It's been fun to chat with you for sure.
Yeah.
For me, it's you can find me on social and stuff like that. Blue Collar Bowen is Instagram. Jason Bowen is Facebook, and then LinkedIn Jason Bowen. You can find me in any of those spaces, and we're constantly sharing just kind of business lessons, business concepts, stuff that I went through, failures I made, crazy stories, whatever it might be on that. And then theimpactlegacy.com is the site that should be done here in the next 3-4 weeks, and that'll be where you can jump on and kind of look at different ways that you can do a give back, different ways, if you were like, hey, I had this exit and I've got 50 grand that I want to put towards some cool cause, and I love, whatever it is, widowed mothers or something. Like we're going to have places where you can figure out, hey, I can give, and this will really make an impact in that world. So those would be the main ones, and that's where you can find me.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, guys.